Hey y'all, welcome back to another Tuesday Tally. So first on the driveway, I've got a ton of trays that have been reseeded, and I've got a ton of things that have come up that need to go somewhere. It's still a little bit warm, so I've kind of dragged my feet on getting some of these things planted out, but I've got them out here so that they can get used to our weather before I put them out. Some of these things, like the brassicas, are not going to take off until it starts to cool off a little bit more, but I mean, they're started, they're ready to get put in. I trust that most of them will bounce back and survive once they get put into their permanent places. A lot of these things are going to be going into green stalks, which that's another issue that I'm dealing with right now. Strawberry plants. I told you guys I had a bit of an issue with a shipment of my bare root strawberries. The postal delivery guy is new, and he said he delivered my package, but it was 3 days later before I got my package, and it was as hot as a Hot Pocket coming straight out of the microwave. So I didn't expect these strawberries to all survive, but I did get a few that made it through, and I've got a few questionables that I'm just trying to give a chance and see if they pull through. And then I've got others that are like, yeah, that guy's probably not gonna make it. This one's still showing a few signs of life, so I'm gonna just give them a chance and see what they do. And if they don't make it, then I will come up with a plan B. These jasmines, I really need to get them in the ground. They've been sitting out here for about a month, and they have almost died twice. Doing pretty good right now. I gave them a little bit more soil, so they're much happier. I did a video last week, I think. Yeah, I think it was last week. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Of potting up these okra plants. They've already started putting on more growth. If you guys watched that video, you saw just how small and lack of leaves they had. Most of them were not much bigger than this. Let's see if I can find one that's close to the size. These are pretty close to the size because I believe this one I did this weekend. These were my second set that I did. But if you look at some of these other ones, these guys are putting on some new growth and starting to make their way up, and I'll start pushing them through the trellises. I've got these tomato seedlings that are here. I put them out here with the intention that they would get planted out within a week, and they've been sitting here for 2 weeks now, and they're struggling. The Whiteacre peas are just now starting to come in, guys. I mean, these cowpeas and sweet potatoes are really throwing a monkey wrench into my planting for fall because I need this space. I am likely going to, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's possible that I'll just go ahead and leave these because I do plan to take advantage of the Greenstalk warehouse sale coming up in October. And one of those green stalks was intended for cowpeas. So I may just go ahead and leave these. This is supposed to be for my lettuce. And I mean, look at it. I can't bear to just rip this out when it's finally starting to produce. I mean, I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. I've gotten, maybe 2 or 3 pods off of here so far. But there's pods forming on here. So I think I'm going to just probably leave it and let it go. I know my husband wants to see this one not be so wild and crazy because the tree frogs seem to love this. They think it's a nice blue tree. And when we open the front door, guess what hops in? Yeah. So let's start our little walk around the garden. I cleaned this area up quite a bit. Still debating on whether I'm going to continue to give these sweet potatoes a chance to finish. The sweet potatoes are all taking forever. These guys have all been in since March. Some went in April, but when I tell you that all of my test pulls, I'm getting like nothing. I'm getting, so here's one. You see that? This is what I'm getting. All of them need more time. And I just honestly don't have the time to give them. I went ahead and hooked up the drip irrigation. So this green stalk is now on drip. And that's going to save me a lot of time. I have a ton of sweet potato slips that are here from, I believe these are Covington sweet potato slips. I'm not sure. I did a test pull on some things and they didn't produce the way I thought they should produce. So I just did slips and said I'm going to try again with those. But I've got drip set up here, as well as the tomatoes already had drip. I had done that a couple months ago. I got a ton of weeds growing up through my hedges. I need to trim those. I still have not put my mushrooms in. That was my goal for this weekend, but I got so wrapped up doing everything else that I just didn't have the time or the energy. We've got cowpeas that need to come off of this green stalk, and I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to it because I need this space. This green stalk is going to be relocated to the back, and I'm going to be bringing the other blueberry green stalk to this position. This one is going to be in the back with, why am I hearing water running? Oh, the irrigation is on. It's running in the green stalk. Can you hear it? I don't know if you can hear it, but it's running. I lost my train of thought completely when that water came on because I'm always thinking that something's leaking. But this one's going to have peppers. I'm going to do a sweet pepper tower, and I'm also going to do a hot pepper tower in the evergreens, and they will be in the back. Still haven't done anything with the mushrooms. I need to come in and stake this branch, or the lawn guys are going to come through and destroy it. I think it was really my fault. It was a bad pruning job. I just kind of hacked off some pieces just to kind of get it out of their way. And so now that it's laden with berries, it won't stand up. This green stalk is red ripper peas, and I just need to rip these all out. These are done. I've got a last couple pods that are on here that I'll go ahead and take off. Of course, a ton of weeds, and I need to trim the hedges. Weeds, weeds, weeds. This is the story of my life in the summer. I hate it. It drives me absolutely bananas. But I'm going to go ahead and rip out the red rippers, and this tower is supposed to get squash, I think. I could possibly change my mind. I've been changing my mind on a lot of these. I need to do a lot of trimming and cleaning over here. This is a nightmare. I started trying to pull the weeds here because I had to run the drip from the front hose bib. This zone comes out through the green hose, and my husband had quite a time digging up these roots so that we could put that line underneath. But I think it's fine. I think it's far enough under there. It's gonna fill in, and that hose goes over there to feed the peninsula. I split the peninsula watering in half because it originally came from that other side of the house all the way around, all the way back over here, around and back to that palm tree. of course, the pressure was not enough to get all of the drip heads to have enough pressure to spray. So I cut it in half and I just ran this side from this west side of the house, and the east side runs from the east side of the house. I've not done anything here. I'm still saying that I want to put a pole beam on this trellis or arbor. I'm not sure if that's what I'm going to do yet, so I've just kind of left it. It's still a whole mess. I've got so much weeding to do in here. I've got so much cleanup to do back here, thinning of these ferns, and just kind of giving some airflow to the things that are growing in here, because there's so many plants back here. It just has taken over. This bed is still extremely low. I need to go ahead and pull the drip out of here and put more soil in. But of course, I got sweet potatoes in here that are taking their sweet time. So what I'm thinking with these sweet potatoes, because they're only in the 4 center spaces, is that I will go ahead, lift up the drip, fill the soil back, and I will use the outside 4 spaces to plant something else. Well, it used to have sweet potatoes only in those spots. Doesn't look like that had enough time in there to really start producing, but that's probably what I'll do, is just go ahead and plant this bed up. It is supposed to have butterfly pea and mustard greens, I believe. So I think I may go ahead and just do that. I need to do some major cleanup back here. I can no longer see my terracotta pots. I need to get the celery planted in those. And I also have 2 other small pots back there that I can use for something. This green stalk needs to be totally ripped out. You guys take a look at all those aphids. Aren't they gorgeous? Not. I'm just going to rip this whole thing out, and it's going to get brassicas. Not sure which ones, but it's going to get brassicas. I got to get this strawberry still hanging on, and I've got a strawberry over here that's still hanging on. I need to get those placed somewhere, and that's probably going to be a task for 2 weeks from now, because next weekend is my class reunion and I won't be able to spend 9 hours out here. Nothing to see here. It's just a mess. I do want to show you guys my tower that's in here. Do you guys see how nice and full that is? Let me see if I can get you a better view without the screen. Pardon the mess, because I've just been throwing things in here as I've been working. But look at how nicely these are filling in. Y'all, I am really bad with houseplants. First, I don't like plants inside my house because I don't like the bugs and the dirt going everywhere. But I do love these leafy green plants. But I think they look good. This one's struggling quite a bit. It's got some mealy bugs. But aside from that, oh man, look at those. I just think this is gorgeous. I really love it. Hoyas really give me a hard time. So the fact that the 3 Hoyas that are in here have made it from Mother's Day to now, listen, I'll take it. We got a ton of weeds over here. We've got some orchids in bloom. We've got an orchid strangling itself. This is the vanilla orchid, and it is strangling itself because it doesn't have anywhere else to go. And I am being a bad orchid mommy by leaving it here. But I don't have anywhere else to put it. So it's going to have to figure it out. But we got orchids in bloom, and we got a ton of weeds. Anybody want to come by and help me weed? It'll be fun. We'll have music. More weeds. More to clean up. This bin is going to be set up for corn because my sweet potatoes, again, are taking forever. In their defense, though, the ones that are here in this bin were planted really late. They were another variety that's new to me, and I just kind of stuck them in here. Now, I've not done a test on these because they went in so late. I'm not feeling any of the soil pushing up yet, so I'm going to just leave these alone. I was supposed to be planting corn in there, but instead I'm going to just go ahead and set this one up for corn. More weeds. I've got to come in here and do something with this Thryallis. It is really taking over this space. I love it. I love the yellow blooms. But I mean I can't even walk through my little path there anymore between the Thryallis and the grass weeds. The sweet potatoes back here, I'm going to give more time because they're pretty much in shade, and that kind of slowed them down. My aloe mother plant is finally dying back. It took it quite some time to die back. I just couldn't bear to get rid of it because it was a pup from my grandfather's aloe. Of course, I have a million others, so I'm not really worried too much about that. I am a little bit concerned about these sweet potatoes. Oh gosh, it threw another pup. Look at that. The aloe threw another pup. Or 3. Or 4. I don't have to go and find another pup to put there. But I'm a little concerned about the sweet potato vine coming down here because it's going to root and grow sweet potatoes where I don't want sweet potatoes growing. And that is the problem with sweet potatoes in Florida. Even if they aren't really a variety that should be growing here. Let's see. What else is new over here? I finally took out the Christmas lima beans that had grown up the palm tree. Got those cleared out so that bin will get corn. I need to level it a bit. You can see it's got a tilt to it. I need to level it a bit before I replant it because the drain holes are 2 inches from the bottom so that it will always have a little bit of water in there to keep the soil from completely drying out. I got drip run to these containers over here. So I've got some beans growing. I've got a pepper growing. I'm not really sure which pepper that is, but it's a hot pepper. I know that much. This is a habanero. I've got some oregano that I moved from another place and put it in that pot. And I've got an empty pot there and an empty pot here. And the eggplant that was there did die. It's okay, I have more. The new bed is looking good. I did have to come in again with these little, what do you call these things? What's that thing called? The trellis. Those little mini trellises. I did get those from Dollar Tree. I bought them last year specifically for the corn, because what happens this time of year is we get all this wind and it blows the corn over. These are just enough to give them a little bit of support, and they will stand back up after the wind is gone. I actually found them laying completely down one day, and they had enough strength to get back up the following day, so I was able to just put these in very easily. I had dropped in some seeds here. They have not germinated. I will fill that pot. My goal is to have something growing in every single one of my containers. I don't know how well that's going to work out for me, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it at least. I've got to come in and take some of these collards off here and also here. As you can see, the plants are starting to grow new collards from the bottom. So I'm going to take these and I will probably just chop that off and take that entire stem and let those new ones grow up. Or maybe I won't. Yeah. You guys see the problem. You see that my squashes are being eaten completely. And I've already told you who the culprit was. These are being eaten by the cabbage white butterflies larvae. They're being eaten by that silly little nasty, slimy, squishy, I don't know what to call him. I don't like him. But he's eaten every single one of my squashes multiple times. So I'm going to have to replant these. I'm really trying not to spray, but look at what it's doing. I never even knew that cabbage loopers would eat squash plants until I found them when I transplanted these. And I went and did a little research. And of course, yeah, they will eat your squash leaves. So the poor plants are struggling here. Even though they are flowering, because of the insect damage, they're having a hard time producing. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to just rip all of these out and start all over again. Let me just get this honeysuckle that is insisting on attaching to that green stalk. You can't attach to that. Stay there. Alright, so yeah, that's that green stalk. A lot of disappointment already. Again, we have this nasty whatever happens to this poor Vitex every single year. I know this thing is growing out of zone, but I just can't understand why it does this every single year. And then I hack it back and it grows back beautifully. So you can see that I did a little bit of a prune on it. I did some deadheading, and so it's pushing all of this new growth. And the new growth is fine. You know, I just have to look at the ugly Vitex until it does whatever. This space, I have decided I'm going to go ahead and put a raised bed in. Not sure what's going to grow there yet. I'm kind of considering garlic or onions for that bed. I did a little cleanup over here. I got the plants all weeded and watered, and they look much better now than they were looking the other day. I've got a green stalk that I actually just finished resetting. You guys will see a video of that, and I don't know when, but you will. This squash here is having a hard time because it's being eaten, but the beans have come in pretty nicely. I'm okay with that. I've got some beans over this side that are struggling, but the squash is doing great. So yeah, I'm okay with that too. I am still on the fence about taking out my Lespedeza. I love this plant, but it has been struggling ever since the third hurricane messed it up. So I'm kind of thinking I'm going to go ahead and just take it out, but I'm not sure yet. So it's just going to hang out there for a little bit. Did a little bit of weeding here. I can now see the poor azaleas that have been struggling. The drip is now running in this area, so these plants will start to do a little bit better. This tower is going to get peppers, and that other green 3-tier is going to come in this position when I switch that blue down the side where the green one is. This one's got a few cowpeas still hanging on in it. I've harvested pretty much everything that had to be harvested from there, and these last few that had a couple of pods on them, I just left to see what would happen with them. You can see a couple of the pods there. So we've got a few pods that are still hanging on here, but nothing that I'm really holding on to and looking forward to harvesting. I just had left those because they were still producing. All the rest have pretty much been taken out. Back to our north side where all of the bushes need to be trimmed. They are all doing their own thing, but I just ran out of time this weekend. Weeding back here is a nightmare because these plants have ridiculous thorns in them that you don't see until they stab you. So yeah, that part. The drip over here is now working. You can see some nice moist areas. This is good. I got the bird feeders all filled up. It's that time of year. I'm sure the birds will be back tomorrow. Enjoying their bird seed. They are pretty picky about the bird seed that I put in there. It has to be the fruit and nut mix or they won't eat it. They throw it all over the place. Still got lots of weeds to pull out of here, but I'm not killing myself, guys. I mean, I'm one person and it's just a lot. It's a lot to do. I love doing it, but I have to pace myself. I have to remind myself every week that I'm not 18 anymore, and if I push myself too far, I'm going to pay for it for 3 days. I don't want to do that anymore. This green stalk is stationary. I got this one set up and filled with micro dwarf tomatoes, and you can see for the most part they are all doing great. I did have one to die here, one to die here, and one little one here that is like holding on for dear life, but I'm going to go ahead and replace all 3 of those. I do have new seed, so I will go ahead and start those. This green stalk is also set up on drip from this zone. I've got lots of zinnia seeds that I need to get. I might just go ahead and throw these all away because I've been harvesting zinnia seeds for the last, I don't know, 2 weeks, and I have a really huge bag of zinnia seeds going. I don't know what I'll do with all those because I typically scatter my zinnias, and I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them. I may just go ahead and harvest them, but in case you guys aren't familiar with harvesting zinnia seeds, you just pull out the petals. Once the flowers have dried, you pull out the petal and there's your seed. So you just let them dry. So these that are completely dry, these seeds are absolutely done. Those are finished. These are not going to be done yet. That's a fresh flower. And these are just about, some of these are already done, but then there's a few of them in there that you can expect to not be finished yet. My rose bush is trying its hardest to continue surviving in the mess that is here. This plant, and I can't ever remember the name of it, I'll put it on the screen. It is so happy in this spot. And I love that it's happy because it's doing what I wanted it to do, blocking view of the yard from my neighbor's yard and down the street, because we've got this alley. All of the neighbors behind us access their houses, their garages from the back, and I don't want them to just drive down, and if we're hanging out in the yard, everybody's just staring at us like fish in a fishbowl. So I want this space to be full and have a little couple places that you can peek through. I don't want to feel like we're in a shoebox either. So this plan is doing what I need it to do. The jasmines are supposed to go here and fill this space in. I don't know when it's going to happen, y'all, but I got to come in here and free up this poor rose bush before it starts to lose its life. It's just a little bit too congested in there for it, so I'll have to clear that out. Look at the herb greenstalk. Now, I say it's an herb greenstalk, but then it's topped with beans. But how gorgeous is that greenstalk? Oh my gosh. I'd spin it, but it is on drip, so I would have to take the drip off in order to spin it. But those beans are gorgeous. The herbs are all nice. I do need to start doing some harvesting on them. Getting a couple problems here on this basil. This is an old basil, but it's still going. The sorrel has all come back really nicely. I can start taking some of that sorrel. And I have a couple of these micro-dwarf tomatoes that are in here as well. There's one there, and then there's one here that seems to be happy as a clam here amongst the thyme and the basils. So look at that thyme. That is just gorgeous. I don't even want to harvest it. It's so pretty. And we got some oregano down in here too. And there's another one of those micro dwarf tomatoes. Got 3 of them in there. Maybe I should take these 3 out and put them in that other one. Or maybe I should just leave it alone because they're happy. I did a little bit of trimming over here and cleaning up. I do need to do some drip irrigation repair over here. This zone has not been hooked up to the new timer yet because I've got a lot of broken pieces in here. My hydrangea that's not supposed to live here, that was a teeny tiny little, I don't know, maybe 6-inch baby that I dropped in here 2.5, 3 years ago, is showing its face. It's getting a little bit of sunburn, but it's okay. It is covered by the Farfugium and this philodendron most of the year. This is the time of year that I start clearing it out so that it can get some sun and be able to produce flowers. I had a, oh, maybe it's still here. Let me see. Oh, it's still there. There's the clematis. I was looking for it. I guess it was dormant because when I cleaned out over here, I didn't see it. And it's pushing some leaves now that it's getting some sun. I mean, that makes a difference too. I got a ton of chives that are spilling out of this grapevine pot. The grapevine it's doing too much. It's doing everything I don't want it to do. It actually is going back here like I want it to, and it goes all the way over, and then it comes back to about midway. And then it's got some vines that are like going everywhere else. So I've got to clean these off. I'm going to go ahead and get this container planted. I did do a half runner bean in here last year. It did phenomenally in here. So I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do again. But I first got to take care of the drip over here so that I can get the timer on and have it running. It's got to be running. Got these containers here. They don't hold a lot of soil. I'm thinking I am going to do a micro dwarf tomato in them once I get the drip run. It has to be on drip because these don't hold any water whatsoever. The drip's going to have to run 2 to 3 times a day in order for anything to live in here. The only thing that I've been successful growing in here has been a coleus, and I just ripped it out this weekend or last weekend. One or the other. This weekend or last weekend I ripped that coleus out. And the only reason I took it out is because it was the only one there, and I want these 4 containers to match. Got the container that grew us plenty of cucumbers last year, and we got 3 more terracotta containers down here that will grow us something. Oh, and 1 more. So 4 down here, and then this one will grow us something else. Not sure what I'm going to grow in this. It's a self-watering container, but if you don't water it, it's going to dry out. So I'm going to get this container going. I did start rehydrating this soil. So if you dig a little bit here, you see? So it's not bone dry. It's actually a really good consistency right now, but the surface is still not where I want it to be in order to start planting. It's still quite crumbly at the surface. So I'm going to go ahead and continue hydrating this before I plant it out. That'll give me enough time to figure out what the heck I'm going to plant in it. This green stalk, I need to go ahead and start getting it ready. Are the watering discs in here? Oh yeah, they are. Because I didn't see them in the garage, so I was a little worried. I'm going to go ahead and start getting this one done. But again, I've got to get the drip running over here before I really put too much time into planting over here. This is a side of the house that I don't come around and check on, quite honestly, very often. The greenhouse raised beds are always on drip, and this section was a manually engaged drip, and I got new timers for all 3 of my hose bibs, so I'm gonna set that timer up to run. That way I know everything's getting consistent water, and when I don't make it around here for 2 weeks, then I know everything at least is being watered. So we've got this coleus that's still doing great, and this coleus is doing good because it is in the ground, so it doesn't care if I'm watering it or not. The Murasaki sweet potatoes, my strongest ones going right now. I have been quite disappointed in the sweet potatoes. They are all requiring so much more time. Everything for the most part is at 100 days. Some of them are past 120 days and they are still not swelling. They're all producing potatoes, but the potatoes are very small. They are not getting bigger. Some of that could be my fault, but a lot of it I am going to bet on just not ideal conditions for those varieties in my area. You guys know I was growing 13 different sweet potatoes just for fun, just to try it out, basically just to have something growing in my containers and beds, pretty much as a cover crop. So if nothing else, they did that job. I would like to get some sweet potatoes from all of them though. This container, or green stalk I should say, it is a container, but specifically a green stalk, needs to be emptied. These cowpeas did not do very well at all. They were attacked by aphids. Not that I didn't get any, I mean, but you know, they just didn't do well. So I've pretty much pulled out most of the older ones, the older plants. I do have sweet potatoes growing in here as well that also need more time. I just don't have the time to give them. I'm gonna have to just cut my losses and get these out of here. If they aren't done in the next 2 weeks, I mean, it is what it is. There's not gonna be any more chance for them. I started moving some of the plants around from the driveway. I got some things put into grow bags, and I've got a couple containers back here that I still need to get something planted into. But these peppers are looking much better now that I've got them back here in a grow bag with a lot more space. The cabbages are coming along. These peppers are still struggling. I believe those are Jimmy Nardello. They are still struggling. I just moved those and they just weren't doing well. Don't worry guys, I'll plant more seeds. The green onions are doing okay. I mean, they didn't all germinate, but it is still quite hot, and onions don't really like to germinate in extremely hot temperatures. Bunching onions we can plant year-round though, so I'm okay with what's going on here. These actually look pretty good. Pups from the aloe division. These are the last 5 that I have. All the rest were pretty much given away. These guys got nipped by the cold front and I had to nurse them back to health. And you can see they look great. The greenhouse, I still have some sweet potato vines going in here. These are the Beauregard and I never can remember what kind. But for the most part, Beauregards have been a total letdown this year. I've got a few sweet potatoes out of this bed, but not a whole lot. I mean, we've pretty much eaten all of the ones that we did get from this bed. And you can see I just kind of left everything else in here. I was just so disappointed with it. I just kind of abandoned it. Not in any kind of rush to get in here, so these will have whatever time they need to finish growing sweet potatoes, or I should say sizing them up, because everything going in here will be probably onions and garlic. The reason for that is I don't want the rats coming in here eating everything, because they've got nice shelter and they're just hanging out in here. So that's what's going to be planted in here. I may plant some other things along with them, but for the most part, I'm going to try to grow onions and garlic in here. Hopefully they will get enough light to bulb up, but if they don't, I mean, I tried. And then I'll have to come up with a plan C for the greenhouse. This poor portulaca is done. I need to go ahead and take this out of here. I could just cut it back. It's not dead, but it looks crazy. So don't mind my flags. These are just here to keep the lawn service guys from rolling through here with their heavy equipment. You guys remember when I filled this entire section with mulch to build the area up, because this is the lowest part of our yard and it would just become a canal over here between my house and my neighbor's house? Well, I dumped about, I don't know, 9 bags of mulch all over, from basically that clusia, the line of that clusia on the back side, from that paver stone across, and all of this stuff was just covered in mulch. And for the most part it worked. There are a few areas that are kind of soft, more so closer to my neighbor's house, that are kind of soft, so I just don't want them rolling through here with the big equipment yet. I did put down 4 new pieces of sod in this area because it was still quite soggy there. So on top of the mulch, I put down 4 more pieces of sod, and that seems to have really made a difference. I mean, aside from those weeds that are thrown there and the weeds that just naturally grow here in Southwest Florida, this area filled in quite nicely. I just did a really hard chop back on these copper leaf, so now we can see. I don't know if I have any signs of my passion vine still here, because the sweet potato vines came out of the greenhouse and decided to wind themselves up this obelisk. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know that there's going to be any sweet potatoes in here because it doesn't look like it rooted there. They just came out from behind the greenhouse in between the wall and just started vining themselves up. My upside down topiary, I did a little cleanup on that guy over the weekend, and I did a little bit of trimming on these eugenias here. You're not going to believe this, but I pulled about 50% of these weeds. They're all back. I moved some, what are these? I believe these are cauliflower. Are they cauliflower? What are these? There's no tag in there. Are they cauliflower or are they broccoli? I think these might be broccoli. I can't really imagine me planting 6 cauliflower because I don't eat cauliflower. But it's possible. But that's what those are. They'll get east sun and they will be protected. So hopefully they'll be okay here. You know, guys, I keep hearing water running and I am forgetting that I got all this drip set up. But I have drip running. I haven't done this bed yet. I did move a couple of Swiss chards out. You can barely see them because they're struggling. And I moved them basically because I dropped the tray. And I just needed to get them somewhere because I knew they were going to shock. But I need to go ahead and get this bed planted out. We've got drip going here now. We've got a cabbage that survived, and then we got a cabbage that died. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. Zone 3 is watering right now. And zone 3 is the front raised beds. They got 2 minutes left running on them. It's coming around here. Why don't I see any water? What's going on? Oh, no wonder. It's not zone 3 that's on. It's zone 2 that's on. And zone 2 is actually, there is a soaker hose in the middle of this raised bed to make sure water gets to the lower levels. Because of the plants that I'm going to be planting in here, I wanted to make sure that that water went all the way down. Then I wouldn't have to run those zones quite as long. We have Purple Majesty sweet potatoes here. These I'm pretty sure are done. I just have not pulled them because I haven't gotten to this part of the garden yet to do anything with them. We've got some beans that are going everywhere except where I want them to go. We've got some, this is basil, and we got some Swiss chard here that I don't know why it insists on laying down. But yeah, that's doing okay. Believe it or not, that Swiss chard is the same exact sowing as the ones in that raised bed that we just looked at. That one didn't come out of the container and get shocked. In this front bed, we've got some weeds. We've got a eggplant that's still trying to get its bearings. I'm not sure what's going on with this Amazon truck back here making all that noise. Okay, so now this zone is coming on, just as I'm trying to show you what's going on in here. We got elephant garlic that has already come up. We've got more weeds back here that shouldn't be here. Got quite a few things that I put in from seed, and they just have not germinated yet. And I got a couple of things that came in as starts. This eggplant was from seed. It did a great job. I transplanted that one out here. That one also I did from seed. More elephant garlic coming up here. What do we have here? What is this? This is I think that's a bok choy. I think that's what this is. Ching chang, a bok choy. It's coming up. I've got some weeds in here that I need to get out. Don't be alarmed. The snake is not real. I had a couple of viewers say, hey, why don't you try putting out some rubber snakes to keep the rats away? I don't know if it works, but I put the rubber snake out. This eggplant needs a stake, and I think, let me go grab a stake now and do that. Should hold it. Let's see if I can pull this one back here. There. That looks okay, right? It's not going to fall over at least, and it keeps it off the wall. So those fruits won't be deformed when they finally pop out of those flowers. Alright, so we got some beans, we've got some weeds. A lot of these stupid weeds pop up. What is that? That does not look like what's supposed to be there. That looks like a weed. That looks like a weed. But yeah, the elephant garlics are all 6 of them are up. I mean, I guess that's good. I've never grown elephant garlic before. I don't know if they're supposed to be up that fast. But my little snake friend hangs out there, and I probably need to reposition him, because he's been sitting like this for a little while. I'm gonna put him over here. This eggplant, I don't know, that might not make it. We'll see what happens with that. That one was from seed as well. But there were a couple transplants that I dropped into some of these, and then I put seeds in a few, and they're not all there, so I may need to go ahead and replant them. I've got some marigolds that I transplanted, and they are putting on growth. I don't know why they're still flopping the wrong way. I do need to trim my hibiscus that is reaching for the sun. I just trimmed this thing not long ago, maybe like 2-3 weeks ago, maybe. And it's taller than I am again already. So got a little baby transplant down there that is struggling. That one seems to be doing okay. I mean, they're gonna struggle because it's still so hot, but they aren't dead. So I still have hope for them that they will strengthen and stand up. This one is from last season, of course, and I got a couple leaves that I could take off, but it's not like in high production, so I'm going to leave it alone. I've got a couple peppers coming back onto these guys from last year. I did not do a prune on them at all. I just moved the container. So we've got some sweet potatoes here that were in grow bags that were supposed to go to a family member, and I never got around to dropping them off to them. And so now I'm gonna have sweet potatoes growing in my front bed. Oh goody. That's not what I want, y'all. I promise you, I don't want sweet potatoes growing in the front bed. Got some radishes that are growing in that container. They're actually starting to size up. But the sweet potato vine has made its way around the front and is trying to come out. My milkweed has come back. I have a lot of flowers up here, but I also have a lot of weeds. These portulacas need to get planted. I was planning on planting them with my strawberries, but because of the drama with my strawberries, they've just been sitting here. But I just need to do a little bit of cleanup here. More milkweed popping up. Bougainvillea out of control, of course. And that, my friends, is the Tuesday tally. Kind of all over the place, I know, but it is what it is. It's that time of year where there is more to do than there is time to get it done. And I'm just trying to enjoy my garden without overworking myself, without stressing myself out, without, I don't know, just being completely overwhelmed with it. You guys garden, so you know that it's very easy to overwhelm yourself when you... Let's get ready for the holidays, guys. Thanks so much. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.